you do have the power to choose which path you want to take. For 32 years, you've chose the path of being a drug addict. You were just manifesting the destiny of a crackhead for 20 years.
Absolutely.
Now you can't manifest the destiny of a person in recovery? Now it sounds kind of weird to you? Now it sounds like hocus pocus, or it sounds like... It is extremely important that I remember what my goal is every day when I wake up, and I remember who I am every day.
Today's guest is Jeff Vickers, a recovery advocate, author, and empowerment speaker. Born into a family with generational addiction, Jeff fought with a crack cocaine addiction for 32 years. Giving his heart to God, he finally gave a wholehearted attempt to recover, and his life changed dramatically. Within the first year of sobriety, he wrote Slogans, recovery mottos we love, and became a recovery advocate in Atlanta, Georgia. Just celebrating 2 years, Jeff is about to release the workbook and audiobook. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. What time is it? Because, I'm in Atlanta and you're in London, so I always like to know the differences. It's 1:07 for me right now. What is it, about 6 o'clock for you?
Yes, it's 6 o'clock in the evening, and this is so
Appreciate
great.
you having me.
With the internet, anything's possible.
Oh, for sure. The world is flat now. We know that.
Definitely. After reading that, and thank you for sending your book across to me, and I've started reading it. It is fantastic, mind-blowing.
You like it? You like it?
We'll talk more about that. What is one of the most courageous things you've done?
One of the most courageous things I've done, if not the most courageous thing that I've done, is address my addiction. And I don't just mean crack cocaine addiction, but I mean everything that's underneath it. You know what I mean? Because you can say I don't want to mess my life up anymore. I'm seeking solace outside of myself in this thing. I don't want to do that anymore. So where do I start? That's scary. That's really scary, because that entails peeling back a lot of trauma. It entails peeling back a lot of trauma and having to go through, the process of healing. So I think that's the most courageous thing that I've done.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, so far. Because you went to prison on 3 separate occasions for drug use. Tell me about that.
So I started using drugs at a young age. When I came off the stoop, if you will, I just started using drugs. And actually I started selling drugs first and quickly turned into a drug user of my own product. And then that was it.
What age group were you then?
Oh, we're talking about 15 years old. I'm from the Bronx, New York. Everyone should know the history of drugs, especially cocaine. America's love affair with cocaine in the 70s and 80s. When it came a time when someone became a chemist and said, let me try to put some elements with cocaine, and poof, we have crack cocaine. It hit the scene kind of hard in the 80s at the same time that I was just trying to find out what I'm supposed to be doing as a teenager on this planet. And I thought I was supposed to be a drug dealer. Then I thought I was supposed to be a drug addict. I got caught up with that, thinking I was supposed to be a drug addict for a long time, 32 years. But the prison terms did occur. You're right. Prison terms did occur because of drug use, 1990 to 1992. So I was from 20 to 22, because I was born in, matter of fact, no, I said from 1990. So that's 18. It's 18. I was 18 years old up until 20, but because my birthday's in December, 1 year short, right? But from 90 to 92, I did prison time. That was because of drug use. 93 to 96, I did prison time, drug use. 99 to 2008, prison time. It was actually a 15-year term, but I did 10 years inside. Yeah, crazy. I did 10 years inside, 5 years on parole. And while I was in for the 10 years, I had to do 3 years in confinement. So for 3 years, I did 23 hours a day in my cell and all that because of
Wow.
drug use. Yeah,
That's
real
a
rough.
lot.
Around the gangbangers and all of that stuff.
So how did you pass the time?
Reading.
Okay.
I passed the time reading and playing chess. And at one point, I was going to college. I actually got my associate's degree from Ohio University while I was in prison. You know, yeah, the syllabus that you follow in prison is the same that you follow out there because it's correspondence. So they send you all of your coursework. And if you have to take a midterm or final exam, it has to be proctored. So during that time while everybody was going crazy, I disciplined myself, and it took me about 4.5 years, but I did get an associate's.
Well done, you.
Thank you.
So how did you identify with having a problem with crack cocaine? What was the turning point?
The turning point was when I was the kind of person that when I got high, you know, you have different. Let's take alcohol. Let's just go to alcohol, right? Because alcohol is accepted worldwide, right? So you have the kind of person who drinks once a year. They say, you know what, I do the New Year's and that's it. And then every time that person drinks once a year, they do something. It's memorable. It's not good, right? It's not good, right? Yeah. And you have a person who drinks every single day and, you know, they never have these kind of issues. Some would say that the person who drinks once a year isn't a drunk. The person who drinks once a year, and what happens after they drink, it's something negative. They're an addict. They're an addict. It's about what happens before, what happens leading up to the use, and definitely after the use for that person. You have some people that drink every day, and it's really like, okay, if I miss a drink, I'm good. I like to drink. If I don't drink, I'm good. And you have other people that, you know, they practically die without a drink. You know, the turning point for me. Yeah, especially with alcohol because of that physical attribute to it. It's just, it's not a good thing, right? The turning point for me was when I wanted to kill myself once again because since I was a child, I suffered with suicidal ideations. So it was another situation where I wanted to kill myself. And let me double back. I am the guy who, and I mention it, you know, in the book, that I get to the point that I don't drink anything, I don't eat anything, and then my body seizes because of severe dehydration and malnourishment. And, you know, that happened to me multiple times. I call myself the Tin Man when that happens because literally it's like I can't move. My body seizes. So the turning point for me was just August 14th, 2020. And I was severely dehydrated. I you know, wanted to step in front of a bus. Me being severely dehydrated means if I step in front of a bus, I don't have the kind of reaction that other people have. Because I could barely get to the bus. Yeah, I could barely get to the bus in the first place, right? And that's the kind of drug addict that I was with crack cocaine. I would just, until I passed out. I mean, literally, I'm around other people who are getting high and they're drinking and mixing it and making sure they level it and, you know, they're monitoring. No, I'm living in abandoned buildings. I'm eating out of Popeyes, chicken dumpsters. I'm sleeping in dumpsters at Motel 6. That's the guy that I was. It came to a point where, and again, we're talking 32 years, and I never tried. Okay, so when I came home in 2008, up until when I relapsed, probably 5 years ago, I wasn't getting high. Like, I was married. I wound up having 2 children. My family, that family doesn't know about me getting high. We got divorced, and because I got divorced and we were going through some stuff with me seeing my children, my addiction used that to its advantage. So sneaky. And it didn't say, hey guy, can't see your kids because she's acting crazy. How about you smoke crack? No, it didn't say that. It said, hey guy, now that you're over here, you still have to take care of your children. So how about you start selling marijuana to subsidize your income? Wow. I started selling marijuana From started selling marijuana, now I'm making money. Now I think I'm somebody, but the money is too slow. So I don't want to sell marijuana anymore. How about I sell cocaine? Selling cocaine, you know what happens. You start using cocaine. Cocaine really, really, really isn't my drug of choice. Crack cocaine is. So why do I want to deal with cocaine? I'll continue to sell cocaine, but I smoke crack now. I'm selling cocaine. Now I'm smoking crack. And you know, if you're smoking crack, you can't sell cocaine unless you got a whole bunch of it. So that's how that worked for me. But the addiction is palpable when you really understand it. It didn't come at me straight, because I would have been like, heck no, I love my children. I'm not getting high. I do Uber. I'm a manager over here. You know, I'm doing okay. So the addiction could come at me and say, how about you just go smoke crack? No, it was like, hey, buddy, you know, the roundabout that came around. And then it took a couple of years for me to like say to myself, you're better than this. You're worth more than this. You're worth more than this. You've proven it. You did 10 years in prison. You had a degree. You came home. You became a district manager of 4 firehouse subs, and you had your own copywriting business on the side. You are capable. You are capable. You have a blip with the marriage, okay, but you're capable. The addiction would never deliver thoughts like that, right? It gets to a point where it's like, I am just so tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm talking about I am spiritually depleted. I really don't want to go on, but I know I am a child of God. He tells me so. I'm not telling myself it, so it must be coming from God. But I don't have the strength right now. I don't have the resources right now to stop doing what I'm doing to get out of the loop. You know, you look in the toilet, you flush the toilet, that spiral. That's what it is. Yes. You know, that's what it was for me, you know, but I was just I was done.
Trying to keep secrets, was that a part of it? Or did everyone realize you were just way out of it?
Thank you. That's the thing for me. My credo currently is I recover out loud because I used out loud. We have a thing in the addiction recovery space called recover out loud. Right? I don't know why they air quotes, but recover out loud, right? I didn't know that, you know, because I'm new in the space. God just put it on my heart, and I was just like, if I'm gonna recover, if I'm really gonna do this, I ain't just gonna do it for me. I'm gonna do it for me and everybody else after me. I'm gonna let them know about the pain, and I'm gonna let them know if crackhead Jeff can get his life together, then you can get your life, you know, together too. So it wasn't about secrets. For me, my whole family knew I was a drug addict. I've been getting high since I was 15 years old. I'm the guy who's like, you know, Jeff's not coming to the party this year. You know where he's at. I'm that guy. Jeff's not coming to the cookout this summer. You know where he's at. You know, so it was never a secret. But I was, and I was the addict that I would go MIA from my family. I wasn't the addict that stole and did all that. I never put my family through anything when it came to my drug addiction, except where is he? Is he alive? Is he in prison? But we know what he's doing, you know, so no, definitely not a secret. And when I was getting high, definitely not a secret. I'm standing in front of QT. I'm standing in front of QT shaking a cup. There's no misunderstanding. Of course, I'll lie to you and say why I might need the money. But you ain't stupid. You know, I just lost my job. Yeah, okay, sure. You know, you stink right now, my boy. Don't smell like you had a job in a long time. You know, so. But as far as secrets, no.
How does it feel just to know that you have shared something so vulnerable?
It's freeing. It's freeing now. When I first started doing it, it was about I have to do it. Because he's telling me I have a higher power, I have a relationship. And it was an understanding that I'm going to get you clean and sober, but you ain't going to be regular. I'm going to get you clean and sober, but I'm not going to have you clean and sober where you just have your sobriety, where you just, you know, go through your path of recovery. No, I'm going to put a lamp in your hand. I'm going to put a lamp in your hand. You say you really want it. You've been talking this junk to me. This is my higher power to me, right? You've been talking this junk to me for 32 years. I'm going to give you what you want. But guess what? I'm going to give it to you, but I'm going to make sure you give it back because of everything that you went through. Come on, you've been getting high for 32 years. I think you got enough to tell people once you get to the other side. And that was an understanding.
Absolutely.
And that's scary. That's scary. It's not scary for me to have a conversation about this is where I've come from. It was scary for me to get on social media and say, hey, this is what God told me to do. That's scary. That's very scary to push back even from my own community. Like, seriously, I've been around for a year now, and people know I'm not a drive-by or, you know what I mean, a charlatan, like, hey, buy my book. And, you know, they know, like, hey, this guy's every day on social media. He's on there with his mom. His mom just celebrated 20 years. He's on there with his wife. You know, he's doing video. So, yeah, he does have a book. God put him in that position. Cool. But he's also going to the Capitol. You know, he's at the signing of different bills that's being passed into laws about recovery. Thumbs up to this guy. It was still petrifying to say you can be great while you're learning to be great.
Because healing is so important. You've got to realize you've got to want it as well. That's the other thing.
Every day
Are
you gotta
desperate
want it,
enough
though.
to want to heal?
Every day. Not just that you have to want it. You have to want it every single day. You know, and we have a thing, you know what relapse is. You don't have to be in my space to know what relapse is. People know about relapse. You know, I relapsed, you know, from a medical perspective, all kind of perspectives, right? But in the addiction recovery space, relapse basically is use again. You know, you come to the realization that, ooh, this ain't it for me. How can I get some help? And you may join a fellowship. You may join a program, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous. And within that structure, there's a 12-step program, you know, and there's a whole culture within the recovery space.
Definitely.
So if you relapse, that means, you know, that you picked up again.
So why do some people fail and others succeed from any addiction?
I can only speak about me. I know that I have sincerely never tried recovery prior to August 14th, 2020. It is extremely important that I remember what my goal is every day when I wake up, and I remember who I am every day. I have a ritual, if you will. You know, I do my meditation. I do my positive affirmations I've made for myself. I do walking meditations. I make positive affirmation programs for myself, and I listen to them myself. I go to sleep with them. I wake up with them. I feed myself about me, my own voice talking to me about me, not listening to anyone else, not listening to Eckert, not listening, you know, to Tony, not listening to Eric, all of these, you know, motivational speakers and empowerment speakers. And I love them all, but what they have to say is not going to feed me for me. So I make up programs that they make up for other people, but I make it up for myself, and I feed me. And of course I read my book, my NA book, and I do what I have to do. But for me, what I've learned is that if I don't stay on my job, right? And my job, my number one job is taking care of me. If I don't stay on my job on a daily basis, what's going to happen for me is regression. Because I'm making progress right now. Every day that I stay within my zone and I'm not getting high and I'm thinking what I should be thinking, I'm doing what I should be doing according to my plan of success for myself. As long as I stay within that zone, I'm good. But
that's excellent.
Thank you. Yeah. But what I've realized, okay, because I'm in probably 120 something groups on Facebook. You know, I'm an admin of some groups. I'm a moderator of some groups. And a lot of people, you know, they speak to me about their relapses, you know, silently, secretively. And it never fails. It never fails. I have a friend right now who he is G Money in my book. He's the guy that's in my book, G Money. G Money is back out doing the right thing. G Money probably has a year under his belt clean and sober. But G Money went back out even after I wrote that book, like once or twice. Now he's back on his feet for a year. Having these conversations, and I'm able to have a really candid conversation with him because we've known each other since we were 17. And I know the relationship he's in because he's in a relationship with one of my best friends that I've known since we were kids, right? So I'm able to really, really get good conversations from him, truthful conversations from him. And some people relapse because they forget the power that exists within themselves. Is the best way I can possibly answer that question. Because we can come up with, I relapsed because my wife, you know, my wife did such and such. I relapsed because my job. I relapsed. Nah, bro, you can make a million excuses because I've done it. You know what I mean? Because when you say relapse, it's because you're in recovery. But there was times before recovery for me where I said to myself, I'm not going to get high anymore. And I still did it. You know, so I've been through that. You know what I mean? When you first become an addict, when you first realize you're an addict, and the first couple of times where you just like, you know what? I know I'm not like really an addict, right? I'm not really an addict.
Denial, isn't it?
And then you know, you go through the relapse and you're like, oh snap, I really can't, you know, deal without it. So that's when I was younger. But where I'm at now, it's like what I am seeing is that all of these people who are relapsing, they relapse because they give something the power. Something to someone. Okay? The power exists within me every single day to wake up and be great, according to my definition of greatness. If I choose not to be great and I choose to be a drug addict, I'm the one who's giving away the power. Now, I can say Anita got me upset, so I got high. My dog got me upset. I can say all of that, but that's the best way I can answer that. That some people relapse because they give away their power to people and circumstances, and they forget that they do have that power to not get high in the moment. See, that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about when we say power, because you have to put that in context. That power is, I have the power not to get high right now, even though my body is crying to get high. I have the power not to get high. But if I wake up today and I get upset with my wife, right? And when it's that moment when I'm just like, should I go get high? I got to get high. What happens is, oh, my wife got me upset, so yes, I must get high. I gave her power. No matter what that situation is, that power exists within me every day. Let's say I had a day shy of 6 months clean and sober, a day shy. And then today's that day and tomorrow's that day for 6 months, but I get high today. For all of those days, I kept that power and chose not to get high. But that day I chose to get high and I relapsed, I gave that power to someone else. I can make as many excuses as I want, but I've proven up until that day I had the power.
Absolutely. You've got to take your power back. It's got to come from within. How many people are blaming outside events, outside people? You've got to be realizing, you've got to understand it's your choice. Everything comes from inside out. You're putting too much meaning on things. You're allowing someone else to take your power. I can totally understand that. Well done.
Do it too much on so many levels, even people who aren't addicts. It's just, you know, if you want to talk about the bigger,
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? The evergreen topic would be why we give our power away. Human beings, period. And we do. We give our power away. And that's a topic that, it's sad. It's really sad, you know, because we are so empowered.
Definitely.
Every single human on this planet, but we give that power away. We give it to religion. We give it to celebrity. We give it to, you know, video games. We give it to social media. We give it to romanticizing ideologies. Like we always tend to take outside of ourselves, put it into the world, and then wonder why we don't get back what we think we should. It's like, no, it don't work like that.
How does manifesting work for the recovery community?
Perfect question. Perfect. Thank you so much. You're probably going to have to rein me in a little bit with that, right? With the answer I have for that. I am bent on making sure that my family in the recovery space understand the true power that exists within them. And the true power is the true power is seen by people who know how to manifest their destiny. It has to start there. You have to take ownership of your existence. I have a higher power. I love my higher power. I'm not saying I created myself and I created. No, what I am saying is that being that I have a higher power and I am a child of God and I have the kind of relationship I have with my higher power, he has emboldened me. Say, you do have the power to choose which path you want to take. For 32 years, you've chose the path of being a drug addict. Now you have chosen the path of being a recovery advocate, a speaker, an author, and anything else that you want to do in the future. You have chosen that. How do you choose to manifest that destiny now, my child? I'm setting you up for it. How do you choose to manifest that destiny? It's kind of interesting to me how we, as recovering addicts or people in recovery, we're getting high. We are extremely resourceful. I tell you, if you're sitting there and you have nothing in your pocket, you have a lot of ideas in your head on how to get high. Very resourceful.
Absolutely.
And if you choose to on purpose be a drug addict, you are choosing to on purpose manifest the destiny of a drug addict. Check it out. That is so deep right there. If you would,
it is. It's such a great point.
It's not like I stumbled into drug addiction. I didn't I mean, the first couple of times, you know that. But when you realize you're a drug addict and you say, I still want to get high, you know what you're doing, right? And every time that you get high and everything that you're doing is manifesting the destiny of a drug addict. We don't put it in terms like that. So now that you're a person in recovery and you have someone saying you can manifest your destiny, you're like, nah, bro, that's hocus pocus. You were just manifesting the destiny of a crackhead for 20 years.
Absolutely.
Now you can't manifest the destiny of a person in recovery? Now it sounds kind of weird to you? Now it sounds like hocus pocus, or it sounds like you were manifest. You know what a crackhead, you know what's going to happen to a crackhead. You're going to go to prison. Yeah. You might die. There's only two things that's going to happen, right? To a crackhead. Okay? So you manifested the thing.
I love it.
So that's where I'm at with my family in recovery. Really speaking directly to them and saying, hey, take a pause. You might hear some language you don't, but take a pause. Let's think this through. You've been manifesting destiny already. Without you sitting there saying every day, today am going to be the best crackhead on the block. No, but your actions say that. And your words say that, right? How can I get some money up? Who's on my phone? Who can, all of the language, everything. You are manifesting that lifestyle. So now when I speak to them and I'm saying, hey, there are two things you can do to manifest greatness in your life. I do get pushback, but that's okay. But that's okay because I'm not going anywhere. My message isn't going anywhere. That message is for my family. And see, that's the thing. Even within our own community, there are levels. Right? There are levels of self-belief. There are levels, there's all kind of levels. So you have people when you deliver certain messages to them because they're still growing, learning who they are, and they may hear a message that they're not ready for. They label that message. No, brother, you can manifest exactly who you want. You ain't using drugs no more.
That actually goes into another question. Are positive affirmations, visualization, and meditation also tools used by people in recovery?
I really love that. I am seeing more and more people on social media in recovery speak about these things. I love it. This is my wheelhouse. Yes, we need to speak about positive affirmations and visualizations in recovery. It's such a new thing for us in recovery because a lot of us we don't know about that. But when we get into recovery and we become empowered, see, it's a beautiful thing to be able every day to say to the old, because it's back here, the old me who wants to say, hey, stupid memory that I might be looking at something on social media and a dumb memory will come up associated in some weird way with what I saw to remind me of who I used to be. And then my body might say, hey, baby, you know how that thing feel? Let's go through. And then I'm like, that's an old thought. I don't have to put any emotion behind that thought. I don't even have to do anything with that thought but observe it and let it go. Do you know how powerful that is for the person who every time that thought came up for 32 years, they yielded to it, but today they don't? That is power.
Oh, wow.
That is freedom right there. And how do we do that and put ourselves in a position now to say, because I am free, I can seriously design the life that I want? For me, positive affirmations and visualizations. Okay, let me just chunk that down. So when we speak about the positive affirmations, what are we saying, right? With affirmations, what am I affirming? To affirm something is the root word of affirmations. When you affirm something, it's a check. And when we say positive affirmations, we're speaking about messages to ourselves, right? So a positive affirming message to myself would be something like, I am a best-selling author. I am. Even before I write the book, I am a best-selling author. I need to affirm that. I need to affirm. I am employee of the month. So what? I work at Walmart. I got a job. I don't, but an example, right? I am employee of the month. And when you tell yourself that over and over and over again, what happens? You subconsciously train yourself to believe what it is that you're telling yourself. And what happens is you like life unfolds according to this belief. But we don't understand it as deeply as we should. And we're learning. And that's the beautiful thing about it in our community. You know, as far as I am gonna have, no, and I don't even say I am going to. I say now. It is present tense. I speak in a now, even if it didn't. When I was writing my book, I said I am Jeff Vickers, the author. While writing the book ain't done yet, so you're not officially an author, buddy. But I am.
You've got to have that belief in you, because if you don't, no one else is.
And they don't have to. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing, again, about taking ownership of our existence. I'm taking ownership. I'm here for a reason. I'm taking ownership. And guess what? I'm here for a reason. I have found my reason. I choose to say this is my reason.
If possible, what would you say is the number one thing, the most important thing you have learned about staying sober?
Absolute most important thing about staying sober would have to be honesty. Nothing is going to come good from a lack of honesty. I don't mean honesty like, I mean honesty. I mean truthful honesty. You know, because we're talking about people who are healing. Let's put it in context. You know, people who are in the addiction recovery space, we are healing from trauma that we experienced 9 times out of 10 of no accord of our own. Of no accord of our own. Okay, billions of human beings on this planet have experienced trauma from a caregiver in one way or another as we were children. The thing is, some of us internalize it on a certain level, and some of us don't. And some of us internalize it on a level that that traumatic experience, it negatively affects their own self-image. And if you have something happen to you outside of you while you are just learning about everything outside of you, because again, 9 times out of 10, it happened when we were children, right? So while you're just learning about you and everything else about everything outside of you, when something outside of you happens to you, especially from a caregiver, it can traumatically affect your self-perception.
Definitely. What would you say to anyone that is going through something similar? You know, how can they start a path of recovery from any addiction?
Again, honesty. It has to start with honesty. Step 1, we admitted we were powerless over our addiction and that our lives have become unmanageable. I only know about AA and AA, and basically that's the same, right? Words might be a little bit different between both of them, but basically it's the same, right? We admitted We admit it.
Yes.
I admit it. Jeffrey Anthony Vickers Jr., I admit it. I was powerless over my addiction. I was powerless over my addiction. And my life had become unmanageable. Come on. 90 to 92, 93 to 96, 99 to 2008. Like, that's evidence. My life is definitely unmanageable because of drugs. I have to admit that. And then when I admit that, opportunities open up. I have a problem. No matter what the problem is, we have to admit we have a problem first.
Absolutely.
I have a problem. I don't care what it is. I could be the person who cleans glasses or fix glasses. These glasses. We have a problem. We have to admit that. They're not fitting on your face correctly, sir, because we have a problem. Let's admit that. Yes,
we have a problem,
Houston, we have a problem. So once we admit that we have a problem, now opportunities open up to address the problem, no matter what it is. But if you're sitting there saying, I don't have a problem, I'm good, I don't have a problem, there's nothing wrong with my car. Look, it's absolutely beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. It keeps breaking down, but that's just a part of it. Don't worry. No matter what it is, if you don't admit that you have a problem, you're not going anywhere. It boils down to honesty again. And the thing about it, can you imagine if half the world were honest with themselves? I'm not saying me being honest with you. Yeah. If I was honest with myself individually, if you were honest with yourself individually, half the world about our existence, our life, what it is that we're here for. All of us are honest about what we're supposed to be doing. What's going to happen when we get together? That honesty is going to be proliferated. It has to be. We have honesty on top of honesty on top of honesty. And beauty starts to be manifested through honesty because of the experience. And that's the thing, right? I am here to have a human experience. Every single micro experience adds on to my level of consciousness, adds on to my spiritual progression. And if I am honest with myself, no matter what experience I have, it's a beautiful experience. It really is, because even if it's a so-called bad experience, and I'm learning that, especially from Rumi. I'm starting to read Rumi, right? But the chances of you being here is like 1 to 1 trillion, some ridiculous number of me being here. And I'm talking about as far as us swimming up, and as far as spermatozoa, I'm taking it all the way back there. As far as you being born, the chances was crazy. So that just means it is a major blessing for every human being on the planet to be here, because of the chances that person would be here.
Where can the listeners find you online, your book?
Oh, currently, thank you so much. Currently, I am selling my book directly, $20 for a autographed copy. I am on IG, I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok with slogans.com, because by the time this comes out, the website will be out, and on all the 4 social medias that I mentioned. I like being able to connect with people, as you see, right? So I would love for people to get in contact with me directly so that they can get an autographed copy from me anywhere, anywhere in the world, right?
And I'll put all your links in the show notes so people can actually do that directly as well.
Aside from that, Amazon, because I have reviews from newcomers. I have reviews from people who have 5, 10, 15, 20 years sober. I have reviews from people who bought the book just to understand the language of recovery, because they either have a friend or a family member. That's the number one category I love are my newcomers, because I'm still a newcomer. Somebody who's fresh in recovery and who's purposefully seeking additional resources to help them on their path. And you're looking to nurture a relationship through the language of recovery. Like, I really don't, I might be someone who's not in recovery, but my brother is, and he's like, oh man, I'm upset right now, but I got to take it one day at a time. I don't know that language. It's like, what do you mean? We're buying the book so that they can understand the language of their friends and family members who's in recovery, so that they can support them. That's just beautiful. I just love it.
That's really key there. So anybody out there that wants to help a loved one, definitely buy the book. Sober
Recovery
Slogans.
Models We Love.
Jeff Wicker.
And that's just the first of a 3-book series. I think I know where I'm going with the second one. I'm working on a workbook right now. I have recovery community centers who book me to come speak and buy my book, for their clients.
Thank you for sharing your insightful wisdom and knowledge and doing the work on yourself so you can make a difference for the world. I really want to acknowledge you for that, Jeff.
Thank you, Anita. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you having me.
Last question to you is, because we are Creating the Courage to Be Fearless podcast, what is your definition of courage?
My definition of courage is fighting the fear. Fighting the fear. That is my definition of courage. If I can add on to that, fighting the fear without knowing the outcome. That's really courage. Any courageous movie I ever saw growing up, any movie that I ever saw about a quest or a journey, because that's what we're on, right? And I always love those kind of movies, right? The protagonist knows when they get to the point where they know the quest, they are scared. They are very, very scared, but they choose to fight the fear at every point of the quest, not knowing what the other side is gonna bring, but knowing that they need to find out. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I gotta find out. I have to push through this fear right here and find out what's on the other side of it. So that's my definition of courage, or being courageous.